Start of a new week, and the ratings and reviews are in from the presidential debate on Thursday night. 80-plus million Americans watched Joe Biden stumble and bumble, almost incoherently, while attempting to attack Donald Trump. Over the weekend, though, the calls increased for Joe Biden to step aside before the election. That still wouldn't change the bad policies and disastrous results of the Democrat Party. But what does Donald Trump think about this? President Trump is with us this morning. Good morning, sir. How'd you feel things went on Thursday night?
Well, I was given great reviews, I will tell you that, John, and it was pretty amazing. The whole thing was an amazing event. I don't know if it felt that way to you. It felt like it was the biggest debate ever, and it felt that way right from the beginning. CNN got the highest rating they've ever gotten. It was the highest show they've ever had of any kind, 51.3 million people. And that didn't include all of the other things that are out there, and which
online
is a much bigger number than even that. So it was a great event. It turned out to be a great event. And, you know, the anchors, I think they treated me fairly. I really was a little surprised, actually. And they treated me fairly, and I appreciate that. And it was, as they say, very consequential.
Do you think Joe Biden drops out of this thing? Do you care either way?
Well, I have to say that, I'm going to show up and, I'm going to campaign, whether it's him or somebody else. It's if you listen to the professionals that do this stuff, they say it's very hard for anybody else to come into the race. And if he doesn't want that to happen, then it can't happen because he has the votes. He's got all these delegates. But the debate was bad for him. It showed he's grossly incompetent, and that's not a good thing. Typically, that's not a good thing when you're running for office.
Right. Well, with that large a stage.
He's the worst president in the history of our country. And when you watch that, I think you now see why.
It was pretty stunning and very alarming. Even if you're a Democrat, I think you have to be alarmed by that. If they choose someone else, is there anyone you would like to run against? Is there anyone on your short list, like I could take this person, or someone that you wouldn't want to run against?
Well, they say the only one they could choose is Kamala because of what that would represent to the black population, that they would be extremely upset if that didn't happen. I don't know, but I don't think she improves their numbers very much. Interestingly, we did a poll though, and the poll showed that Biden does better than the people they're talking about using to replace him. It's a strange phenomena, isn't it? Because I can't imagine who would vote for this guy. What the damage he's done to our country, what he's done to our country is incredible.
Right. Gavin Newsom is pretty smooth, good-looking guy, very smooth, but the numbers are terrible for him in California. The results are bad.
Gavin Newsom is presiding over the destruction of one of our greatest states. And other than having a fairly good pitter-patter, I'd love to run against him. I'd love to run against him. He's terrible. I call him Gavin Newscum because he really is bad. He's bad. He's done a terrible job as governor. But you never know. You never know, does somebody emerge? But right now, they're solid on the fact that he's not leaving. He's not getting out.
Right. I was reading all the papers on Friday morning as we did our show. I talked to a bunch of Democrats on our show, and their pushback on you was Donald Trump lied. Donald Trump lied. And I kept saying, well, tell me what he lied about. They couldn't give me anything specific. So when you hear that, what do you say back to someone?
Well, I've watched them, and whenever anyone says, well, where did he lie, they have no idea. It's just a line they use. Mm-hmm. They put out in their machine that just say Trump lied. And nobody asks them where or anything. I didn't lie. I told the truth. The country's in dire trouble. We have millions of people coming into our country that shouldn't be here, including from jails and mental institutions all over the world. Not just South America, all over the world. Jails and mental institutions are being emptied out into our country. And we're going to deport them. We're going to get them out fast. But no, there was no lies. They lied. Biden lies. Biden lies. His whole life is a lie. Everything he does, he says he has a 6 handicap. That might have been the biggest lie of all. I think the fact that he said he had a 6 handicap, I don't know if you're a golfer, but this guy doesn't have a 6 handicap. This guy's a bad golfer. He's got no coordination. He's got no swing, can barely hit the ball. And he said he's a 6 handicap, which is considered a good golfer.
Right.
And that was one of many. But I think that was his biggest lie, because the other was big, but this was really big.
That's the lie that everybody will actually understand. They may not understand economic policy, but they'll get that. One of the things that worries me, though, has Joe Biden and the Democrat policies, have they messed things up so badly that you're really in a tough spot? If you get elected, if you take office next year, can you turn this around and do it, quickly? How do you do that?
Well, it's when I say mess things up, the real mess is that they've allowed millions of people into the country, because that's a hard thing. But yeah, we're going to get it cleaned up. But that's a real mess. They've hurt our country so badly. And I used to think they did it on purpose. Actually, they did it to get votes. Pretty bad way of getting votes. But they also did it on purpose. I actually believe they hate our country, these people, because who would do this? Who would want men and women sports? There's so many elements. Who would want open borders, wide open borders for everybody to pour in? It's a crazy thing. I've never seen anything like it. Nobody has. What they've done to our country is unthinkable. But we'll clean it up. We have no choice. We have to. It would have been so much easier doing it the other way, but this is somehow more historic than if we did it the more traditional way. Don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. This is a big challenge. If you can somehow do the 180, it'll be monumental. I was with some Republican Latino leaders on Saturday night,
right?
They're worried about, they want the border closed, but they're worried about the deportation issue. Do you just follow the law here? Because the New York Times and the networks will show people crying and very upset about deportations. Is there a plan to manage that? Or is it just follow the law?
Well, we start with prisoners and people coming out of mental institutions. And we start with that, and nobody's going to have a problem with that. They're not going to have a problem with that. But no, what they've done to our country is incredible. It's unthinkable. It's unthinkable that they were allowed to do this. And, everyone says, why? Why did they do it? Who would want them to do this?
It's terrible.
And it's pretty incredible. No, we'll be fine. Eisenhower did it in the 50s, and he was a moderate president, too, but he was very strong on the border.
Right.
But you're right. There'll be an outcry, and things will get done. But there'll be some outcry. There'll be, the ones that want it done the most, though, are the Hispanic people, more than any other people. It's sort of amazing when you think, but they're the ones that want it done the most. But we're not talking about Hispanic. We're talking about these people are from all over the world. And they come from jails, and they come from mental institutions, insane asylums. They're emptying out their populations. Venezuela is way down in crime because they've taken all their gang members. They've taken all their leaders, their gang leaders. They've taken their drug dealers, and they've deposited them into the United States. So people aren't going to be upset when we get them out, and we will get them out.
Now, Steve Bannon looks like he's heading to prison, and I think that proves your point about the weaponization of the justice system.
Oh, sure. They wanted to silence him, but they'll never silence him. But they wanted to silence him. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is pure weaponization. What they've done in this country is unthinkable. And Biden is going to pay a big price for it, I believe, because I think that people are going to say, well, wow, you've opened up a Pandora's box. This is a terrible thing that they've opened up. They've unleashed this. This is for third world countries. No, they've wanted to silence Steve Bannon, and the only way they could do it was by putting him in jail.
It's disturbing. I know we got to go, but let me ask you about Governor Youngkin. We were watching the body language. What do you think of this guy now that you've met with him several times?
Yeah, very good body language, wouldn't you say? I mean, he's with us all the way. He wants us to win Virginia. He's in charge of winning Virginia, and he wants us to win. And I endorsed him, and I also did a big town hall for him. Town hall meaning a telephonic town hall,
Right?
And had hundreds of thousands of people on the line, and he always appreciated that. And now he's trying to help, and we want to win Virginia. If we win Virginia, we win the whole thing.
It's looking good. These polls, multiple polls tied up. It seems like you can do it.
Yeah, well, it's hard to believe anybody could vote for this other guy, what he's done to our country. He's been the worst president ever. Not even close. Jimmy Carter looks like he ran a brilliant administration by comparison. Do you agree?
Yeah. Oh, you got it. You got it. President Trump, I really appreciate the chance to talk to you. It's good to see you in person, and we'll look for you in Virginia over the coming months. Thank you very much.
And thank you. We'll do other events together. Great to have you there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.